April 2023. A warm welcome to News Tonight. Let's start with a look at the top stories. State Minister for Primary Education Moriko Kaduchu closes school in Mityana over operating without license. Prosecution to take part in police and CID investigations at start of every case. Sudan Armed Forces Rapid Support Forces in a 72-hour ceasefire. While Nambole Stadium not ready to host Cranes game against Algeria. We welcome you warmly. My name is Micheal Jordan Lukomwa. Elizabeth Nakakuni joins in for sign language interpretation. In our first story, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has today met the Parliamentary Legal Committee at State House Entebbe, led by the chairperson Robin Rakojo, and agreed on the way forward as regards to the homosexual bill. The Legal Committee will report to the August House on the homosexual bill and communicate to the public later on. Museveni said he has met the Legal Committee of Parliament and agreed on the way forward, which they are going to report to the bigger body on the bill of the anti-homosexuals. The details will be communicated to the public in the due course. That's the Legal Committee of Parliament meeting the President at State House in Entebbe over issues to do with the anti-homosexuality bill. Moving on, Minister of State for Primary Education, Dr. Joyce Moriko Kaduchu, has closed boarding section of Good Care Primary School in Mityana over operations without a license. She was on a routine inspection of primary schools in Mityana district, and our reporter has the details.
On her routine inspection of schools, State Minister for Education and Sports, Dr. Joyce Moriko Kaduchu, has closed Good Care Primary School in Mityana district for operating without a license.
This is very small.
This place is very small. How are we, my daughters and sons? We are fine and high-based by God. Good, we sit down. Which class is this? Primary 7.
2 rooms acting as dormitories housing 5 boys and 15 girls were in poor condition, and some pupils confess to be sharing the same bed, which provides a fertile ground for homosexuality.
Do you know that the Ministry of Education is headed by the First Lady? Now you want to embarrass us and start this kind of thing? No license, no permission to operate dormitory. You are congested dormitory, putting girls to sleep 2, others 1. Boys are 2, 3 on a bed. Very dirty place. What should I do? Tell me. I am the minister.
The minister, accompanied by the RDC Mityana Africano Ahapundira, ordered closure of the boarding section until proper guidelines are followed and a license issued.
I can only allow you to operate as a day school on condition that you are processing the license, but boarding, you don't have the capacity.
The minister also faulted officials in Mwende Municipality's Education Department for not inspecting schools.
The DO and the inspector of schools, municipal, they just come to collect money. Me, I know. Isn't it true? When they come, you give them money and they go and sleep.
The minister also visited Mityana Central College and inspected the school facilities, including dormitories. She was concerned about congestion in the boarding facilities, especially boys' section. She later addressed learners and cautioned them against engaging in homosexuality.
Which morals am I speaking about?
Which one? Which one? Excellent. That act is not good. Any students that is involved in that act, we don't want it. We love you. We don't want to dismiss you, but we will be forced to dismiss you for rehabilitation.
Last month, Minister Kaduchu indefinitely closed the boarding section at Mubende Public Model Primary School after reports of 7 pupils had been allegedly sodomized by the hostel warden.
Boys, if I hear, the next thing, what will I come and do? What will I come and do? Wonderful, thank you, God bless you all.
Shaidat Nasaku, BBC News.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has cited that it will be involved in the investigations conducted by Police and Criminal Intelligence Division in crime and capital offences to guide them during prosecution. This has been manifested in the prosecution investigations guidelines launched at the opening of the 3-day second annual Prosecutors symposium in Kampala.
Uganda, members of top management.
Prosecutors at different levels from various parts of the country are attending a 3-day symposium to share knowledge on criminal justice. The second annual Prosecutors Symposium on the theme, Effective Prosecution of Organized Crimes to Foster Sustainable Development, was opened by Sharon Lesa Nyambe, the head of office, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes.
It is now a rare honor and privilege to declare the 2023 Annual Prosecutors Symposium officially opened.
During the symposium, prosecution-guided investigation guidelines were launched to involve prosecutors in CID and police investigations.
I hereby declare that going forward, we are going to have, especially murder cases, cases of corruption, we are going to have them prosecution guided so that we move together in tandem with the investigators, so that we see what did we do wrong, what didn't we do right in a particular case. It's all a learning experience. But by the time we take cases to court, we actually believe in them, that we are going to succeed.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, Her Lordship Jane Francis Sabodo, highlighted on the achievements of the ODPP in the last financial year.
Tackling case backlog. Working together, we made good progress towards our strategic goals, despite significant challenges, which we all know, which were brought up, of course, by COVID-19 as well. I was proud to see how quickly we adapted to each new challenge, and our teams, I could see directorates, several of them in the field, training. I could see divisions, I could see departments, regional officers, units, from across the ODPP, collaborated with one another to make the most of every opportunity.
Abodo threatened to hold accountable prosecutors found in corruption tendencies.
We have a zero tolerance for corruption policy. Those who get caught in the vice of corruption, the law will take its course. I do not interfere. And as top management, we shall not interfere. Overall, please desist from corrupt tendencies.
In her remarks, the chief guest Sharon Lesa Nyambe, also the head of office, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, urged government to strengthen the ODPP in the fight against organized crimes.
The fight against organized crime requires not only well-trained and well-organized prosecutors, but also prosecutors who are supported and protected by their governments. And I was really happy to note from your speech, Madam DPP, that there's political will to support your office.
The second annual Prosecutors Symposium was on the theme, Effective Prosecution of Organized Crimes to Foster Sustainable Development, and it will run from today until the 27th of April 2023. Rebecca Natongo, Susan Nabugude, UBC News.
National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Program in the Ministry of Health, in partnership with the World Alliance for Lung and Intensive Care Medicine, will conduct a study dubbed Reimagining the TB Care in Uganda. The study aims at transforming TB care in regard to medical diagnosis and access to treatment by bringing services closer to the communities.
Ministry of Health statistics show that tuberculosis is a public health threat to the Ugandan population, with 90,000 new cases recorded annually. Although Uganda is among the 30 top countries globally with TB, it could end the disease by 2030.
It means in a nutshell that there are not so many people like we have. Right now, it is estimated that about 91,000 Ugandans fall ill of TB disease in this country every year. So when we say ending the disease by 2030, we mean that we will have reduced the number of people that are acquiring this disease annually to the lowest minimum number of people per 100,000 population. That it will no longer be a public health threat as it is now, but something that is very minimal and not a threat to our people anymore.
National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Program in the Ministry of Health, in partnership with World Alliance for Lung and Intensive Care Medicine, WALIM, will conduct a study dubbed Reimagining TB Care in Uganda.
We are looking at transforming the tuberculosis response globally in terms of when, where, what, who, and by what means our TB services can be delivered to the people that need them. And we are basically looking at opportunities for integration.
The study will find innovative solutions using people-centered design that will facilitate integrated community and home-based care for TB screening and treatment to lessen the burden of case detection.
Even when a national TB prevalence survey was done, they saw that many people remain in the queue. Meaning that the way we deliver our services based at the clinic and others do not put into consideration the needs of the people. So it is important to understand what are their needs, what do they want, what are their preferences. People have got financial constraints. He cannot come to the clinic unless he's feeling pain. Most people who have TB do not have pain. Even some of them do not cough. For example, in our prevalence survey, we found that 50% of the people who were identified to have TB never even coughed, never had any signs and symptoms. So with such a person, he will continue to go to the market, to go to the shop, to go and do his own work. So until we devise means of how to reach those people beyond that.
The study, funded by Centers for Disease Control, CDC, Korea International Cooperation Agency, and the Stop TB Partnership, United Nations Office for Project Services, will be conducted in the 6 districts of Kampala, Wakiso, Mukono, Mpigi, Kayunga, and Wikwe. Adia Nakuti, UBC.
The Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakoba, has intervened in a land dispute in Ntamu Sub-County Mityana District. More than 4 villages are threatened with forceful evictions after claimants of the said land issued warnings to them.
In Mityana District in Ntamu Sub-County, a section of residents claim to be facing an illegal eviction. The affected villages include Nkwale, Kabule, Migo, and Seta. These communities decided to write to Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development seeking for intervention. They claim that the landlords want to evict the tenants and squatters, with some residents claiming to have secured land titles. According to the residents, this uncertainty about their tenancy and occupancy affects the implementation of government programs like the parish development model. The Lands Minister Judith Nabakoba talked to the affected families.
Okutuusanga mumaze okukkaanya kubanga nabagambye etteeka ligamba kukkaanya sinki simpaka era bwe baddayo ne batuula ne balaba ngeri ki gye bakomawo gye muli okusobola okulaba nti bamamatiza.
she has suspended the surveying and mapping plans earlier communicated by the landlords.
Okwerula empenda yonna gye bazze beerula boundaries emitendera gyonna girina okugobererwa okuva mu ofiisi ya RDC ne DPC ne bajja paka wa LC owa LC avunaanyizibwa okuŋŋaanya abantu abavunaanyizibwa ku nsonga eyo ne mwogera ku kiki ekigenda okukolebwa.
During the same engagement, residents from nearby communities also complained about pending evictions in the areas shaded in Nasaku. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
UBC News tonight. After internalizing the court decision in the matter of the murder of SP Muhammad Chirumira and Nali Nyaresti, prosecution has expressed intention to appeal, challenging the court's decision. This was communicated by the head of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Lady Justice Jane Francis Abodo.
Significance was adduced in court to prove beyond.
While delivering judgment in the murder of ASP Muhammad Chirumira and Nali Nyaresti, the presiding judge Margaret Mutoni acquitted Abubakar Kalungi of all the offences. Court was of the view that prosecution failed to prove its case before court and that the investigations in the matter were done poorly.
On the ingredient of participation, as it relied on fanciful speculation that it was the ADF rebels that killed the two deceased persons.
When you're going into investigations, you don't know what you're going to uncover. And when you uncover evidence, when it is put together by the investigators and is brought to us, we actually read it and we see a case. We sanction such a case and it goes to court. But when it goes to court, it also takes its own life. And we always take such criticism. When they say investigations were done poorly, we take it positively and we go back to the drawing board and say, how did we do this? That's why we have meetings with the CID.
The Director of Public Prosecution's Office has welcomed the court's decision and highlighted issues that failed their office in prosecuting the matter.
What did we do wrong? What didn't we do right in a particular case? It's all a learning experience. But by the time we take cases to court, we actually believe in them, that we are going to succeed. We cannot control witnesses, how they testify, and at the end of the day, the judicial officer makes a decision according to how they have perceived the evidence that is brought before them.
Meanwhile, the DPP's office commented on the public expectation from the DPP's office in handling the matter.
Managing public expectations is very difficult. If we say that we are going to please them, we shall be very miserable. As prosecutors, as investigators, even as judicial officers, we do not want to please the public. We just want to do what is right. And sometimes the public expectations, after they've had a case, they have seen it, but when it goes to court, it actually fails. And sometimes the public feels that we have failed them. But so many other processes go behind, you know, it's just like preparing a meal.
Following the court's decision, the Director of Public Prosecution's Office has expressed its intention to appeal the decision.
We always don't just mechanically appeal. We look at where we went wrong and we read the judgment, we look at what evidence we actually produced, and if we see that the judge made a mistake or a magistrate made a mistake, then we shall definitely appeal. And in this particular case, we are also going to do the same and the sentence and see whether we can appeal. And we shall appeal.
Lady Justice Jane Francis Abodo adds that, as the DPP's office, they are still determined to handle criminal offences.
And that's why today I'm very happy that we have launched the prosecution-guided investigations, because going forward, we are going to have, especially murder cases, cases of corruption, we are going to have them prosecution-guided, so that we move together in tandem with the investigators.
Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Residents of Namungona in Kampala are in need of government's assistance following heavy rains that destroyed their homes and property. As Ivan Kahwa reports, nearly 30 houses in Namungona Lubia, that's in Rubaga division, were affected by the rain and left many families homeless.
The iron sheets just blew off. The rain, which lasted several hours, found many residents off guard, blowing off roofs of homes, leaving many in disrepair.
Enkuba netonya netukubira ddala ntuvaamu mu nyumba tugendeyo omunyumba endamu ntwegamayo enkuba.
Omwezi ogwokutaano enkuba tetera kubambi bwetyo okujjako etera okubeera mu kumi n'ogumu yetera okukola bino naye kati naffe twewuunya bwewuunya okulaba nga weekiri.
Local council leaders in the area were also affected by the disaster.
Nange yange yatikuse simanyi we tugenda suza abantu bano tusaba busebe kikwatako mutudduukirire tulabe nga tudduukirira abatuuze baffe bafune basolo nnaku lwaleero.
Some residents are making repairs to restore safety and functionality. The scale of damage is significant and recovery efforts might be prolonged.
I call upon our area MP, Honorable Abakari Kawalia, to really come and see what is on the ground. He needs to take this matter to the Parliament, where it has been allocated by the Prime Minister, where these residents can be rescued.
Naye nga tumanyi tugenda kwekwasa tutya okufuna obuyambi okusobola otuddizaako amabaati ng'ago mu budde kuba ku budde muno mu mbeera eriwo abamu tetumanyi we tuyinza kuddukira mangu.
We need the security agencies to beef up with the local authorities so that we can provide enough security to this area.
Namongona High School class blocks were also affected by the rain. However, leaders in the area have stated that reconstruction efforts will begin immediately.
This has even hit the houses which you can see that they are in good state, but you know it is a disaster.
In addition to the damage to homes and schools, nearby plantations were also impacted by the heavy rains, and fallen trees in some areas have caused traffic disruptions. Electricity officials were also seen fixing electricity poles that were affected by the rain.
Whereas residents have managed to save some of their properties arising from the heavy downpour that started at midnight, no life was lost. But preoccupying such structures and buildings that were affected by a lot of water puts their lives in harm's way. Therefore, government's intervention to respond to the matter is highly needed. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News, in Namongona, Kampala.
The Uganda Young Democrats President Kiria Ismail has appealed to the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to repatriate all Ugandans stuck in South Sudan. He was speaking to the media at the Democratic Party headquarters in Kampala.
The Ugandan government has all the records of Ugandans who left Uganda to Sudan and came back. Uganda has also records of the Ugandans who left Uganda to Sudan and they are still there. We are therefore calling upon the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ambassador of Uganda to South Sudan and Sudan to work hand in hand, first of all, to repatriate the Ugandans who are still stranded in South Sudan. Because as they were running to South Sudan, they left a lot of properties the other side. And right now, they don't have what to eat, they don't have where to sleep, so that they can be helped to come back to Uganda. Medical interns striking. We saw them yesterday, Monday, 24th April 2023, trying to strike about two things which they aired out. One was about deployment, another one was increasing on their salary. However, we saw their move was intercepted by police as they were trying to march to Parliament. They were brutally arrested. As Uganda Young Democrats, therefore, and Democratic Party, we condemn the way police of Uganda is handling these medical interns. We are seeing that Kasese is given only 349 billion as their budget for Kampala. But now, once we compare this to the previous government of the other ED, we saw that their budget even went up to 800 billion. What is the science between the two? Why did you give a lot of money to the previous ED and this one you're giving little money? Is it a deliberate move to fail her?
Meters towards the north.
The Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga, has reminded government to allow decentralization system work to enable district leaders serve their people without negligence. This was during an engagement with district chairpersons from the central region at Bulange Mengo. At the same event, he handed over 71 motorcycles to Buganda sub-county chiefs bought from the Kabaka run proceeds to ease their means and ways of to campaign against HIV/AIDS.
In order to fight ending HIV/AIDS in Uganda, the Kabaka of Buganda, Ronald Mwenda Mutebi II, has bought for Buganda sub-county chiefs motorcycles to enable them move and spread the gospel of preventing HIV/AIDS in their respective areas. Handing over to them, Katikiro Maiga asserts that to place the kingdom at helm of social and economic development, health matters must be prioritized.
It's important that the leaders in Buganda, especially the elected leaders, appreciate the vision that we have in the kingdom. The vision we have is to place the kingdom at the helm of social and economic development, with people enjoying their freedoms.
Maiga says these motorcycles are as a result from the recent Kabaka run of 2023, and the Kabaka decided to ease transport means for sub-county chiefs to help them reach the local person and sensitizing about HIV/AIDS.
It has pleased the Kabaka to use some of the proceeds from the Kabaka's birthday run to buy motorcycles for the Gombolola chiefs throughout the kingdom. They are going to use the motorcycles to convey the Kabaka's messages about fighting HIV/AIDS, with men in the lead to save the girl child throughout the villages that constitute their sub-counties.
Some of the chiefs appreciated Kabaka and promised to utilize them according to purpose.
Kukubiriza abantu basaabasajja okwewala obulwadde bwa siriimu, okubukebeza ate n'okubutangira.
Okubiriza abantu bannyinimu okulaba nga beewala olumbe namutta olwamukenenya.
In another development, Katikiro Maiga has advised government to share power with regions to allow each region serve its people freely. This was during the courtesy visit paid to him by the Buganda district chairman.
So the aspirational pillars we have are 5. The first is culture and heritage. The second is federalism. The third is the protection of land and the kingdom borders. The fourth is hard work. And the fifth is unity of the people of Buganda. I think we should share power so that we internally can handle our issues, much as other parts of the country should be able to do the same.
On behalf of the chairpersons, the chairperson of the district chairpersons from Buganda, Fred Kasese, says decentralization is only in words, but for them have no powers to implement. Lydia Chomkama, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
With freedom. Get MTN Freedom Voice Bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mold Technologies, your professional research firm.
Glow as
as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256 GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Haha, Towakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3 GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months, so you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Tecno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Mbara and Jinja.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless. It's the encounters with our majestic gorillas. The thrill of taking on the falls of the Nile River. The joy of discovering new traditions and a lot more. Join us at the 2023 Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo from the 26th to the 29th of April at the Commonwealth Resort, Munyonyo. Rediscover our country's uniqueness and see what the tourism sector has in store for you. Visit www.poate.co.ug to secure your spot and get set to learn, network, and explore. The Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo is brought to you by the Uganda Tourism Board in partnership with Competitiveness and Enterprise Development Projects. Explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
UBC News Tonight, thank you so much for watching and welcome back from the break. State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, has assured the diaspora security of their property, especially the land they buy while still abroad. He says the ministry has started a mechanism to track the property, and it can be easily tracked online using phones or computers. Mayanja was meeting a team of members from the diaspora headed by the president of the Uganda North American Association, Nairuba Wamala, at the Land Information Center in Kampala.
Close to 3 billion every day.
The State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, said the 5 million Ugandans working abroad bring in over 1 billion annually, which is about 3,600 million, which he said is a major source of income for the country. Therefore, they need to be helped in order to keep their property safe.
In light of this, His Excellency Prince has directed, as I said earlier, this system is the baby of His Excellency. So, having seen the fruits that is getting into the treasury, 888 billion from the 100 million, he has directed that at least a percentage of what we collect be retained at source, so that the system can work without having to wait for a quarterly release from the ministry. And I think that is going to ensure that it works even better. And the confidence we have now built with the diaspora will enable them to even send more money from the billion now they are sending, I think, to even go to 5 billion.
He said the ministry will launch
the Uganda National Land Information System to prevent people from selling land more than once. Track land details online.
With your title, something an alarm will show on your phone that somebody is trying to, then you find out what is happening. Then you may find that somebody is trying to put a caveat and you may question that caveat. So now things, we thank His Excellency for this system, and he has also approved the further loan, which will, I think, complete everything. They will explain the full details. And this system is second to none in Africa. It's the first of its kind. And they will explain to show that you cannot lose any detail when this system works.
Ministry of Lands has worked with other agencies, including the Identity Card Issuing Authority, to verify ownership of the property.
It ensures that the biggest number, except those who have not come off on the system yet, money goes directly into the treasury, into URA, and to the concentrated fund. So that, because of that accuracy and that system in place, last year, without any increase in the tax rates, without any increase in the 0.5% on mortgages, or the 10,000 on research, last year the ministry was able to collect, last budget year, 866 billion.
The president of the Ugandan North American Association, Nairuba Wamala, appreciated government initiative.
We also feel that the government should be on our side, because much as you want us to come and invest back home, we are losing trust in systems such as these. And if we have you as government on our side, working with people such as Mr. Kanukuntima and his company to help us, that will really help us put trust back in the system.
Deo Kalikumuntima urged the minister to set up a separate office for overseas land affairs to facilitate them in tracking their property.
The diaspora community has two options: to invest in the diaspora or to invest in Uganda. Therefore, it is imperative and necessary for us to put in place the measures to attract them back home.
Story compiled by Jamil Sekaja for UBC News.
As Uganda joined the rest of the world to commemorate World Malaria Day, CIPLA Quality Chemicals, in partnership with Mengo Hospital and joint medical stores, marked the day through organizing a free medical camp at St. Stephen's Luzira Church of Uganda. Some of the free services offered at the camp included malaria testing and treatment, HIV testing and counseling, eye care, blood donation, public health education, among many more others.
Residents of Luzira Parish in Nakawa Division have had a free medical service offered by CIPLA Quality Chemicals in partnership with Mengo Hospital and joint medical stores as part of the activities to mark this year's World Malaria Day. Some of the services offered at the camp at St. Stephen's Church of Uganda, Luzira, included free malaria testing and treatment, blood donation, eye care, HIV testing and counseling, wellness checkup. The CIPLA Quality Chemicals Head of Human Resource Department, Harrison Chigundu, explains the free medical camp.
We are doing this medical camp to see to it that all the community around Luzira can have this kind of hospital in here. We've partnered with Mengo Hospital and joint medical stores, and all the drugs are in here. We are happy that a big number has really turned up.
Our call and our goal is zero malaria infections, zero malaria deaths. So it's important for us to come out as partners. There is strength in synergy.
Biggest challenge we are facing is that most of our patients are struggling to pay for their medical fees. So therefore, as Mengo Hospital and on behalf of other private for-profit healthcare institutions, we urge the government of Uganda to speed up the process with a national health insurance scheme.
Local leaders, led by Nakawa Mayor Paul Mugambe, hailed the initiative and urged more corporate companies to come up with more of such camps in Nakawa.
Bless CIPLA to grow from strength to strength. Atwebaza JMC abatukwatiddeko ku nsonga eno.
This year's Malaria Day has been marked on the theme Time to deliver zero malaria. Invest, innovate and implement. Bugiri district has hosted this year's national celebrations.
There has been a record of an increase in the number of suicide cases in Kasese for persons between the age of 20 to 40 years. The chairperson LC1 of Best Camp Lower Cell, Kasese Municipality, Jafari Kiguthia, I beg your pardon, says that the area, 15 people have committed suicide in the last 3 months.
The district has decried the increased number of suicide cases among youth in the district.
This being the 15th case in my area, these youth people are having those problems. 1, because of poverty. 2, domestic violence. 3, lack of counseling. So I'm requesting the government, 1, to put in PDM money such that we give people to reduce poverty. 2, to create job employment for the youth.
Police reports indicate that only 10 people were reported to have died of suicide from January to March this year.
This is Hima, Kasese, Katweka Batoro, and Wera divisions. And Hima division is the one that registered a high number of such cases.
Rwenzori East Police PRO Tumsime Nelson, however, acknowledges that some cases are never reported.
So we urge you, the public, to continue reporting, and also we have intensified our community policing in these areas to see that such cases are reported to the police and the relevant authorities.
It is believed that domestic violence has fueled the rise in such cases.
We have tried our level best to try and seek what is not happening in our communities, what is causing this, because it has been a habit. At least everywhere we are recording, at least every week we are recording 2 or 1.
The religious leaders in Kasese district are calling for a concerted effort to end the vice.
So we advise and we implore and we beg, let people come to Christ Jesus, accept Christ Jesus as the personal Savior and Lord, so that the spirit that makes people kill themselves will not come to them.
So is it due to social problems like poverty as said by the politician, or spiritual problems like the pastor claims? That's the question that we may have different answers to. For now, let's take a short break. It's UBC News Tonight. Business news comes after the small break.
This is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes. Now, the center.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100*1#. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mulch Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president. She is the hope of our community. And as a community leader, I will talk to others about how we must protect her against child marriage and teenage pregnancy because it affects us all. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from pregnancy. Because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, under the auspices of the East African Community, will host the 10th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2023 from the 9th to the 11th of May 2023 at the Kampala Serena Hotel in Uganda. Take full advantage of the investment opportunities in the East African region's vibrant oil and gas sector. To find out more on how to sponsor, exhibit, or attend the 10th EAPCE 23, visit www.eapce23.eac.int.
Jerry con! Jerry con! Hey, Master Blaster! Touch him, man! Bang Jerry con with muscle! Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava! Best school fees I teach you. But never come up with the muscali. Because of the cover that is very far. Is you serious? It's just you. What? Yeah? You stay put on it. Add kilometers to your legs. And you get your sugar. We buy milk from Umaru. And Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru, Jerry car.
Okakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
Business news tonight. Minister for Kampala, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, wants investors to prioritize locals while employing. She made the appeal while unveiling the 96th Starbex International Gas Station in Bunga, a Kampala suburb.
Although government has in the recent years elevated some towns across the country into cities, Kampala continues to attract more people, especially those in search for employment and better living. The surge in urban population is attracting massive investment opportunities.
They have given jobs to our youths because these are young Ugandans who are working for the petrol stations. I've told them not to bring people from outside, but they should work within our people. They should work with our youths in Kampala who are looking for jobs. So many youths are employed, but they don't have jobs. So if they can employ these people, not from Kenya, not from Tanzania, these are Ugandans, especially in Kampala. As a minister for Kampala, I would at least support them to work with my people in Kampala because there are too many unemployed people. And I will also look around and see that they only bring Ugandans here, not people from outside Uganda.
Starbex International, an oil marketing firm, is one of the rapidly growing fuel subsector players. In just over a decade, the company has expanded and diversified its business.
We would love to work together to see to it that we have our stations operating and reach out to our customers because of the overwhelming demand from our customers, and also create employment through having, because this station alone employs directly about 14 people, you see. So if you have another 40 stations running, so we will have at least enough capacity to have our employment scale go up in Kampala.
However, local investors decry bureaucratic processes at the Kampala Capital City Authority, which they claim slows down their business expansion goals.
But we have issues with the Kasese, the clearance, the approvals of plans, they're not approving plans. So it is really slowing down the process of investment.
I will continue supporting them, and I will talk to Kasese that we should support such developments in our community.
The estimated Kampala metropolitan population is about 3.9 million people, which makes Kampala the most populated urban center in Uganda. Dennis Igor and Juman Samba for UBC Business.
A ceasefire in Sudan appears to be holding, although there have been reports of new gunfire and shelling. It is the fourth effort to stop the fighting, which began on the 15th of April, with previous truces not observed. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that the 72-hour truce had been agreed between the army and the Parliamentary Rapid Support Forces after 48 hours of negotiations. The latest ceasefire attempt started at midnight on Monday. In the world of sport, it has been confirmed Nambole Stadium will not be ready to host Crane's game against Algeria. FOFA has chosen Cameroon as the host nation for Uganda's home game in June. Minister for Sports Peter Ogwang had earlier promised that Nambole would be ready, but work in progress to see that the stadium meets international standards. FOFA President Moses Magogo and stadium officials earlier had a tour around the stadium before coming up with an official statement.
We had been given the assurance by the Honorable Minister of Sports that our home ground, Mandela National Stadium, would be ready. And yesterday, before submitting the venue, we made a visit to Mandela National Stadium. And we've since found that they won't be in a position to give us the facility before the date as required by CAF. Definitely, as the executive of FOFA, upon the consultations, we have taken a decision that our next game against Algeria will be hosted in Cameroon. And considering a number of factors, the connections to Cameroon are good, the visa requirements are okay, but most importantly, Cameroon will also give us an international friendly. Considering it's a 10-day FIFA window, we are able to get a friendly because Cameroon, in their group, they do not have an opponent to be playing this during this break. So they give us the international friendly, but at the same time, they also give us the venue. As we all know, Cameroon has just hosted the Africa Cup of Nations, so they have over 3 different venues that are acceptable to CAF. And that's why the executive has taken a decision to host Algeria in Cameroon. We realized that there is no progress. On the 4th of November 2021, there was a decision taken by Parliament to award Nambole the money they needed, that's 97 billion. And this money has since been released by the Minister of Finance. But when you look at the progress of work, there's no significant update that is going on as far as the construction is concerned.
We thank you so much for watching. That is all we had for you at this particular point. Let's get back to you at 10 p.m. with another arrangement. Still news tonight. My name is Micheal Jordan Lukomwa with Elizabeth Nakakon and the whole team. Let's catch you then. Enjoy the next program. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
I'm feeling cold. I feel tired.
Adui wapi? Adui yako.
It's believing in God that all things are possible.
Welcome to one of Africa's highest, most remote and unknown mountain ranges located in Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, bordering the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Rwenzori Mountains are stretched out over 120 kilometers long and 61 kilometers wide. They are called Mountains of the Moon, or even the Rainmaker, especially as she produces up to 350 days of rainfall annually. 13 Ugandan mountain climbers are about to set off on a journey to climb the highest peak of this pristine mountain range called the Margarita Peak.
This expedition, funded by the United Nations Development Program, is intended to showcase the beauty of the Rwenzori Mountain.
Flagged off by the United Nations Development Program country representative and Joshua Cheptegei, the fastest long-distance runner on Earth, the team will attempt to summit this unique peak while discovering the wonders of this mystical and demanding mountain range.
To the people of Rwenzori, you have the best place in the world. Treasure it, keep it.
I'm so excited. I'm so thrilled to have this opportunity to summit Rwenzori. Watch out!
Look at this. This is amazing. This is Mount Rwenzori, and this is the national park. We will unveil to you the beauty of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
The best never rest. Our prayer is to reach on the top.
I'm very proud to be part of this Rwenzori expedition. I'm proud to be doing this with Lily. We are the only two females who are doing this.
The sun is out right now and all is going well. Oh, Rwenzori, beautiful place to be.
Formed about 3 million years ago, the Rwenzori Mountains are a relatively young mountain and still growing. The Mountains of the Moon are blessed with a wide variety of flowers and plants. With every hour and every altitude gain, The landscapes, colors, and views are ever-changing. You can find different layers of vegetation, bamboo zones, mossy heather zone, lobelias, alpine zone, and eternal snow at the top of the mountain. This UNESCO-protected national park contains unique biodiversity and breathtaking sceneries such as eternal glaciers, snowfields, mountain lakes, and tropical rainforest. The wide diversity of flora and fauna make it the ultimate trekking experience.
It's an adventure. It's life. It's fun.
Very scenic. Amazing, amazing, amazing experience to go through the waterfalls, the hike itself, the boggy places. It was just amazing. But also a little bit more difficult, but I guess that is what the experience is all about. Beauty about it is that we are all working as a team.
I'm doing very well today. Last night I had a bit of a running tummy and a headache. I think it's an effect of the altitude sickness. And then I noticed this morning that my lotion is frozen. So I think we are at quite an altitude that is getting colder and colder. But I'm feeling great right now, and that's a good thing. My headache is gone and I'm looking forward to the day.
Everyone in life wants to get on the top. But what are the techniques? What's the way of reaching to the top? I have just come to realize reaching at the top is not easy. You have to pass so many things. It has never easy way. But when you believe in yourself, when you prepare your mind, I have a saying of saying that nothing is impossible.
The Kilembe Trail is a marvelous but challenging 82-kilometer hike that requires an 8-day trek with 6 days to the summit and 2 days of descent, depending on the weather conditions and the endurance of the hikers. Tiresome yet rewarding, this hike starts at 1,800 meters and culminates at an altitude of 5,109 meters on Mount Stanley, where the Margarita Peak is the highest point in Uganda and the third highest peak on the whole African continent after Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya. All accommodation, paths, bridges, woodblocks, stairs and rope sections have been built over the years by the local community, who now serve as guides and porters. They provide incredible knowledge, assistance and safety on the way to the top and back down.
So here we are at the height of 4,000 meters. And in the background, if you see straight, you will see the green buildings. That is Bugata camp.
Yeah, thank you. God is coming, you know, this place. Yeah. No, for me, this was the coldest camp. Yeah, it is. That wind that comes off.
I must have strained my ankle. It was not only a long walk, but it was quite steep coming down to camp. So this morning, I just couldn't put my foot down. It was very difficult to walk. This is really helpful. I'm getting a celebrity massage. According to the local community traditions, two main spirits inhabit the Rwenzori mountains, one man and one woman. Kita Samba, the spiritual god, is there to give blessings and protection. People pray to him for daily rain, the source of all life on earth. His wife is called Nyabagole, also known as Nyabinji. To enter into contact with her, one must spend time praying in the mountains and bring food and crops. People pray to her for fertility, love, and good fortune. One of the sayings is, if you respect the mountain, she will give it back to you.
Everyone ready for the mountain tomorrow?
Excited.
Yeah, so what we are going, no sleeping today. Thank you for being strong. Thank you for having gone through the mud up to this point. So we are here to give you the briefing for the summit tomorrow. Before we go to the rope practice. We have 3.6 kilometers just from here to the top of Margarita. But that short distance takes time. It takes around 5 to 7 hours. We've decided that we leave here at 1 a.m. So roughly from here to the first glacier, it may take us 2 hours. So getting to the first glacier, we shall need to have the crampons getting connected to the ropes. If there's any crevasse fall, if one falls into a crevasse, then we are able to pull you out so quick.
You transfer your hand. You push. You pull yourself up. You push. You transfer your hand. You put it this way. If you want to lock, because this one is locking.
I'm feeling cold, I feel tired. But I have to go and get to the peak of Margarita. It's believing in God that all things are possible.
Your body's gonna feel like breaking down. But your body's the only thing that can never give up on you. You're the only one who can give up, your mind. So mental power is gonna play a vital role. Your heartbeat, every single beat move, you have to reserve as much energy as you can.
I am limitless. We are going on the top.
You're not competing with anyone to climb that hill, up that mountain. You're not competing with anybody. This is you, and you against yourself.
Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's getting late. Let's go.
I've not got such kind of experience in my life. I'm a fighter, I have fought, I even fought my shadow. But this Rwenzori is becoming a hard blade.
Oh, I'm exhausted. Oh. Take on the ball!
How do you work? Hallelujah. Oh Lord, we are climbing to the pitch. Huh?
2025, reaching on the top of the mountain. We are the top of Uganda.
Right! Woo-woo! Yeah!
Preserving the mountain is capital. Unfortunately, due to climate change, the ice cap has reduced considerably over the years. With up to 350 days of rain per year, the Rwenzoris provide water to around 5 million people within the area of the mountain. This water flows to the River Nile, the longest river on earth, and continues its journey to Sudan and Egypt. Locals believe Kasese is a spiritual entity helping human beings enter into contact with nature to discuss with the wildlife and the mountain directly. That's how the local community receives knowledge from the trees, all types of plants, and medicinal herbs. People love and respect this mountain so much for the water, the medicine, and the incredible vegetation it offers. Rwenzori's glaciers, magnificent waterfalls and lakes make it one of Africa's most beautiful alpine areas. Uganda Wildlife Authority has been actively protecting the many endangered species within the national park, such as the blue turako and the three-horned chameleon. This unique biosphere is a true gem that needs to be preserved not only for the many endemic species it contains, but also for the local community, which directly benefits and lives from the mountain's gifts.
We are going to rescue the drones because our drone is just hanging up there in the middle of the rocks. So we are going to climb up there and make sure we have to come along with it. But before that one, we are planning first to make sure we are safe. Everyone, especially the one who is coming to be removing the drone from down, is supposed to be safe on the rope. We also are going to be giving communication, especially directing him where he's supposed to go. This rock is just having moss which are very slippery. They contain some water.
Guys, be careful! You're almost reaching. Are you okay? Have you got it? I have it. Too far.
Carrying 50 kilograms. They are climbing.
these are the porters. And these guys, they keep moving on speed. You think that these guys are immortal? They work with passion. They know every step, every corner.
We are around 75 porters, including the guides. We are now 85 people in the whole group.
Some of our colleagues have just arrived now from Hanwik's camp. They have given us information that our friends have just got stuck in the way. They have been weak. They have done a lot of work. They have moved long distances. Some are affected by altitude. So we are collecting ourselves together to rescue them.
There is great knowledge that they have. The skills that they have is comparable to none that I have seen elsewhere. They're superheroes. They're really super.
Many newly discovered waterfalls are tributaries flowing into the powerful Nyamukasani River that runs from the Rwenzori Mountains through Chalumba, Chondo, and Kisinga sub-counties to Lake Edward. They flow over rocks that present themselves like a silver lining to form a misty situation down the valley when viewed from a distance.
This is a completely new trail which has even like 17 waterfalls just along this trail.
In 8 days, we have experienced so many things. Besides the experience of the mountain, there has been the experience with the different vegetation along the different altitude. No wonder it is a UNESCO World Heritage as well.
I saw something too brown. At first, I was like, what is this? Then I saw it try to come towards me. I stood up. I looked at it. It is beautiful.
Rwenzori Mountain offers trails for all levels of hikers, which range from 1 day to 10-day trips. The shorter trips are not as physically demanding and still showcase the amazing beauty and the art of nature, including rare vegetation, rivers, and numerous waterfalls. Rwenzori National Park is located on the foothills of Queen Elizabeth National Park, one of Africa's most popular game drives, and a few hundred kilometers from the Bwindi impenetrable forest that inhabits the endangered silverback mountain gorillas. And to quote Winston Churchill, for magnificence, for variety of form and color, for profusion of brilliant life, bird, insect, reptile, beast. For vast scale, Uganda is truly the pearl of Africa.
I encourage my country men and women to take interest in our domestic tourism promotion, to visit, to scale, to go, to climb that mountain.
I'm still trying to look for the one word to describe Rwenzori. Right now it is indescribable, but it's just magical.
There's something about it, it just changes you. You're suddenly humbled just realizing how great this mountain is.
It's incredible, beautiful. I don't even know the words to say. Like guys, 9 days in the mountains, no phone, nothing. It's stress-free. I encourage everyone to take on Rwenzori.
This mountain has many mountains on it. Before you reach on the top, you climb, you slope, you climb and slope. We all reached at the pitch. No one was looking handsome apart from me.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Labor Day, or International Workers' Day, is an annual holiday that takes place on 1st May to celebrate the achievements of workers. Uganda will join the rest of the world to celebrate under the theme Promoting Positive Work Culture and Ethics, a prerequisite for increased investment, employment opportunities, and household incomes. Regardless of how you choose to celebrate, make sure you give yourself a pat on the back for all your success. Join us for the live celebrations on Monday, 1st May 2023 at Namutumba District Headquarters.
Deeper conversation.
How many teachers in Uganda did you consult? But there's a mistake we are making.
Which is good.
Which is good.
Which is good.
Which is good. We went to this school, we ran it to Western, we ran it to Northern, we ran, then you come.
Isn't that an achievement?
Objective and non-partisan.
Honorable Minister, there were a number of points. I want to start with you.
Straight from the hearts of open-minded men and women.
Money tends to move faster at night. So when people are not counting,
don't take it for granted.
Candid and authentic.
Because Uganda is not Thailand.
That's not correct, and we should stop that kind of mentality.
So what I'm saying is that's a trick question. Don't answer.
I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that.
Tell him you speak Luo.
I think that's where we are beginning to have a problem.
I think what is going to kill the parish model are all the misconceptions on how it's supposed to run. I know that the Prime Minister is listening.
Behind the headlines.
Charles, let us agree. We liberalized the economy.
We are several nations put it together.
Why don't you appreciate that?
What if it fails?
I'm happy
and
to
he's a good lawyer because Amin is not in power.
The Parish Development Committee is functional. It is there. That there is a parish chief, that the beneficiary is doing.
So we look at expenditure, we don't look at revenue, and that is the challenge we are giving them from Minister of Finance.
Your fountain of new knowledge, flowing into the mass body of knowledge.
First get the knowledge of Bukedia, how they want to be modernized.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
You return money to the treasury, which is meant for the people.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. This week on UBC. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
In 1954, Queen Elizabeth II commissions the first hydroelectric power station in Uganda. Built during the colonial era, on commissioning, the plant had 60 megawatts capacity, sufficient to meet electricity demands of a budding nation, with a population of 5.9 million people. Steady growth of processing industries generated increased demand for power that eventually what was being produced by Owenfall's Dam had to be increased to 168 megawatts by 1968. 1971, Idi Amin takes power in a military coup. What followed were years of economic turmoil, which devastated Uganda's economy, and a series of wars that left the electricity infrastructure in shambles. By the early 1980s, national electricity access was dismal. In 1986, Owen Falls, the sole power station in the country, had deteriorated so much that the installed capacity had reduced from 168 megawatts produced in 1968 to only 60 megawatts.
There was only one dam, and over a period, for a number of reasons, it could not provide power to its installed capacity. A number of things had happened. Some of the turbines were not working anymore. Even when power was generated, transmitting it was yet another problem. So all those were contributing factors.
The fledgling manufacturing sector took a big hit due to high energy bills. Roofings, the biggest manufacturer of construction materials, which controls more than 50% of the market, shouldered high energy bills. In spite of the hardship, depending on diesel-powered generators, they defied scarcity odds to continue investing in the country.
If you look at a manufacturing setting, we're going to have people coming to work on that day, to come and produce. Now, if we are not certain about the viability of power, and noting that 80% of our machinery are going to use power, then you have the entire factory almost like shut down for that particular day if there is instability of power. And if it is erratic in nature, then we are going to lose equipment. Because as soon as you switch on the equipment, then you realize actually power is fluctuating, then the motors go down, and other machineries also break down, in addition to spoiling of materials. So the aspect of the quality of power is quite significant in our factories.
Chira Power Station, the second power plant, was under construction, while the country was under pressure to produce more power to meet the ever-increasing demand. Construction of Chira Power Station started in 1993 and was completed in 2003. With 5 turbines, each was expected to generate 40 megawatts of electricity using water diverted from Nalubale Power Station, bringing the total production from Nalubale to 200 megawatts of power. However, throughout the 90s up to 2000, the appalling electricity generation situation was aggravated by the onset of a prolonged drought, which caused low water levels in Lake Victoria. Coupled with Uganda Electricity Board's inefficiency, power generation dropped from 270 megawatts in 2004 to 120 megawatts in 2007. Dr. Magi Chigozi, an industrialist who later headed Uganda Investment Authority, recalls how low the country sank in terms of power supply.
I was chairman of the sector subcommittee of the Uganda Manufacturers Association from 1994 to 2000, year 2000. And therefore, I was the one dealing with those critical issues that were affecting the investors. And definitely top of the list was energy. That was the big complaint that we took to the government whenever we got an opportunity, telling them about our frustrations, our inability to grow, our need of, cheaper diesel. At one point, the government did respond and gave us, a discount or, cheaper diesel to use in our generators. That was how bad it was, in order to allow us to continue to produce. But the deficit at that time was huge. And therefore, what happened was, I think, nobody invested further.
If the country was to attract investment in the manufacturing industries, particularly to add value to agricultural products, shortage of power had to be quickly addressed if the economy was to pull itself out of the doldrums.
Energy then became one of our priority sectors. We knew without it, none of the other sectors. It's such a cross-cutting issue for everybody, for education, for health, for all the sectors, agriculture, agro-processing. It's such a key component. So we identified it as a priority sector and worked towards making it happen, attracting more private investment into the sector. But before that could happen, they had to reorganize the sector.
Government made a decision to unbundle the electricity sector into 3 major operational entities that would handle electricity generation, transmission and distribution.
Under the main UEB as one single unit to be responsible for generating, transmitting and distributing power. No financiers were willing to come forward and give us money. So the answer was to unbundle. Get generation separate, have transmission separate, and then distribution separate. And then ensuring that you adopt a policy which can then provide room for investments to come through, such that you open up the generation so that other people, privates, can either on a PP, public-private partnership, you can, construct a dam.
The unbundling also led to the enactment of Electricity Act and establishment of Electricity Regulatory Authority, an independent regulatory institution charged with the responsibility of license, set the electricity tariffs, and monitor utilities in the power sector. Because of these far-reaching changes, the manufacturing sector, which takes up over 60% of electricity generated in the country, started seeing improvements as new dams were coming on board. In 2004, government invited the private sector to participate in the electricity subsector. The purpose was to increase investment, reduce the power losses, and improve revenue collection and overall inefficiency. Consequently, the government gave concessions of Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited assets at Nalubale Chira Complex to Eskom Uganda Limited and Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited assets to Meme Uganda Limited.
For generation, we had 2 huge assets that belong to the government of Uganda. That's the Nalubale Hydropower Station with an installed capacity of 180 megawatts and the Kira Hydropower Station with a potential of 200 megawatts. At that particular time, UEGCL, or Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited, did not have the financial muscle to invest in revamping the 2 plants. Kira was a brand new plant, fair enough. Nalubale was an old plant that required a lot of operational maintenance, which money generation did not have. So a decision was made to attract an investor for a 20-year concession, who then would come in, abide by a concession and assignment agreement, invest in money, carry out operational maintenance, and over a 20-year period, revamp the plant, carry out a number of refurbishments, including development of human resource, and after that, hand it back to us. So UEGCL was largely relegated to the point of concession, monitor, and administrator.
But the country continued to face acute power shortages as a result of delayed development of Bujagali. Emergency thermal power generators were installed as an interim solution to mitigate the problem. While this worked as a short-term solution to address the supply problem, it increased the final cost of power for the consumer to the extent that end-user power tariffs had to be subsidized to make it affordable to ordinary Ugandans.
Cost, it translates into the cost of production and as well as the competitiveness of our product. If you look at the Ugandan market today, we have imports coming in from from quite a number of countries, say for example Turkey, China, Japan, Dubai or United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and as well as the opening up of the African trade around COMESA, East African Community, all those products come into this country. Now, the cost of the raw material is almost the same globally, because we buy from the same sources, the raw material. Whoever is in Kenya imports from the same source, we will import the raw material. However, what makes a difference is the cost of conversion in the country. Now, if the cost of power is high, then there is a challenge. So it has to be competitive.
After so much delay, construction of 250 megawatt Bujagari hydropower project commenced in February 2005. Through a public-private partnership with the public partner Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited and the Aga Khan Foundation, the project was inaugurated in 2012. Today, over 900 megawatts of power is produced altogether by the government and privately owned power plants, hydro, thermal, solar and sugar products being the major ones. Peak time demand is currently 600 megawatts, meaning that Uganda produces more electricity than it can consume.
There have certainly been improvements. Like I said, we work closely with the regulator, the Electricity Regulatory Authority. That wasn't the case before. And what this close partnership has done is it has enabled us to identify areas of urgent intervention, which areas can then be fixed as fast as possible to ensure that pain points of manufacturers with regard to energy are addressed. The quarterly discussions on tariff structure have also been highly useful because in that way we are able to anticipate what's going to happen over the next quarter in terms of energy costs, and we're able to prepare our members adequately for it. Of course, we keep pushing for a point where we get to a competitive price of 5 US cents per kilowatt hour, because that ensures that as we go into the Continental Free Trade Area, as we go into COMESA, we are in a position to be competitive.
Subsequent to that, with the growth of demand for electricity, government did then decide to develop 2 new hydropower stations. The Karuma hydropower plant, or project as it is at the moment, 600 megawatts estimated potential, and the Simba hydropower plant of 183 megawatts. These two, having learned our lessons from the Bujagari arrangement, because the private investor bring in their money, there is obviously an upward surge that this investment creates to the end user tariff. That's why you've had conversations around the price of electricity being high. It is largely because the cost of producing it, because of the Bujagari factor, went up. This is not a public secret. A unit of electricity being sold to transmission from Narubari and Kira complex is about 2 US cents. The same unit coming in from Bujagari costs 11 US cents. So the Bujagari power is 5 times more expensive than that of Kira. Why? Because the Kira Narubari complex, whatever loans were taken to build those 2 complexes have been sorted out. It was government money, and so it was not a commercial arrangement, as it were.
The 600 megawatts Karuma Power Dam in Chiriandongo district is progressing well. The project, which commenced on December 2013, is due for commissioning in December 2018. Once complete, it will add 600 megawatts of affordable electricity to the grid.
Karuma hydropower station will cost us 1.7 billion US dollars. That is in the range of over 5 trillion Ugandan shillings. It's a huge sum of money. But we borrowed only 85% of that, and the other 15% was contributed by the government of Uganda.
Work on the 183 megawatts Isimba hydropower plant, located along Victoria Nile in Kayunga district, commenced in April 2015. The project is expected to cost $567.7 million US dollars, with 85% of the contract being financed with a loan from Exim Bank of China, while 15% financed directly, contributed by government of Uganda.
The powerhouse is nearing completion, and whereas for the electrical and mechanical works, we have 4 units which are comprised of a turbine, So that means 4 turbines. Out of the 4 turbines, 2 at advanced stage of installation. Turbine 1, which I'll always refer to as Unit 1, is at 100% assembly. That means the turbine is in and only awaiting interconnection to the transformer and later to the grid. Whereas Unit 2 is also on course, and it should be at 70%. And all these 4 units will be generating about 45 megawatts, which will be sent to the grid. So in total, it should be 183 megawatts at the end of the year.
In addition, government is investing in power transmission across the country, with the main investment in Isimba-Bujagari interconnection transmission line. Power evacuation starts from the 132 kV Isimba hydropower plant switchyard and ends at the 135 kV Bujagari hydropower plant switchyard. Power will then be distributed from substations across the country, and lines are being laid to export the surplus.
These are high tension lines. We have a line that is going from Karuma to Oluyo to Juba. We have lines that are coming from Karuma, Kawanda, Masaka to take to the southwest. We have Gulu, Karuma Gulu transmission lines. And therefore, the focus has been on those to ensure that these 2 dams will be evacuated in time.
Private investment in small hydropower projects is expected to add more power to the grid and create access in remote locations which are far removed from the main transmission lines. It is estimated that there are over 50 small hydro sites peppered around the country that can generate a total of 200 megawatts to supplement bigger projects on the River Nile.
We have a power sector that is bringing on board an extra 760 megawatts of power when Isimba and Karuma come on board. That will bring our total production to around 1,230 megawatts. And uptake of this is going to be a key issue, because cost has an element of uptake. If the power is generated but is not taken up by anyone, what's going to happen is the cost is going to remain high. And we're saying if we are to have the capacity to take up this power, help us find the market. Our manufacturers continue producing at 54% of installed capacity. Part of this is because there is limited market for their products. We do have markets near us that we can access. We have the DRC. Fortunately, there have been discussions started on how to open up that market. We lost South Sudan because of the instability there. And we're saying what facilities can be put in place to enable manufacturers access these, because at the end of the day, all this has an impact on uptake of power, has an impact on cost of power, and eventually on productivity.
Stability, first and foremost. When it comes to rainy seasons, we all start looking at how we're going to manage in this process. Because what you're going to see in the papers is planned shutdowns for maintenance of lines, and that distorts our production. And it doesn't only stop at production only, but also it reflects in the markets. It can cause instant scarcity of product simply because we don't have power to produce the materials that we want.
Domestic connections have gone up as more household consumers get onto the grid.
We have set a target where we think that by 2040, in line with our Vision 2040, we should have 80% access to power in this country. So we've just concluded about a couple of months ago the electricity connection policy. What does that say in brief? That anyone who wants to have a domestic connection will get it for free. All you need is have your house wired by yourself and you get power connected. If it is an industry that requires 3-phase, equally you will spend your money, get yourself connected, but that will be on a rebate policy where we offset from your bills. You spent your money to connect, but you get back that money over time.
We've seen efficiency generally in the transmission of the power, in that we no longer see transmission lines where leaves which has laid as a piece of fire, as it were. These old conductors or some of the old poles have been replaced. more transformers have been bought, they have been put in place, and more substations have been constructed. Because as you get the power closer to the people, you have to construct substations. Because you transmit using, say, 33 kVA line, and then you step down to get a substation from which then you transmit on 11 kVA lines to the people.
Although the above initiatives of unbundling and encouragement of the private sector in investment in the electricity subsector, as well as government massive investment, have helped to drive the sector to its current performance, there is still room for improvement. With an estimated hydropower production potential of over 4,500 megawatts, there is still a big room for expansion. Coal generation using biomass and the country's geothermal potential, if exploited, more power would be generated.
What we couldn't do is you could have to see when power is available, then you produce your product. If they say power is going to be on about from say 7 o'clock to 6 in the evening, then you have to ramp up production during that time. And if you really wanted to produce beyond that time, then you had to procure a very powerful generator. And generator comes with a high cost of running on a fuel which is higher than electricity. So it could impact us in that way. And the capacity utilization becomes less because you can use your machinery, a machinery that is designed to work for 20 hours can only work for about 12 hours. But today, at least we can be able to use the machinery for the entire 20 hours. And that cuts down on our cost of conversion because the economies of scale have been achieved.
The people are now taking manufacturing seriously as a priority sector. We see a lot of agro-processing beginning to happen. We have a gold refinery, so some processing of minerals, I mean the cement companies. We have now 3 and then a 4th one coming up. So because they feel there is enough power. The small SMEs are working. The towns are booming. Uganda is the city that never sleeps because the discos are blaring everywhere. The markets work 24 hours. The shops are open 24 hours. That's the kind of people we have in Uganda. Very entrepreneurial, very hardworking. And once energy was accessible 24 hours a day, that has all been opened up.
We've realized that, yes, when Isimba comes on board and all these mini hydros and Karuma, we may have over 2,200 megawatts. And if we have developed the infrastructure to transmit it and distribute it, the next thing that we need to be starting to plan very well now is the demand. That's why the country has come out to do some industrial parks that will have industries that can consume the bulk of this power. For instance, we're developing an industrial park in Tororo, where we're going to develop the phosphate industry, the iron ore industry. We expect that initially that will consume about 60 megawatts, but eventually when it's at full production, it will consume about 200 megawatts. Equally, there are industrial parks that we're developing in Kapeka, in Nakasongola. We expect that those in Luzira here, we expect that those will take the bulk of the power.
With all the positive expectations of the new power plants nearing completion, affordability by the final consumer remains a lingering challenge.
Our tariffs are very competitive in the region. When we did the comparison, the only country in the East African region that had lower tariffs was Tanzania. But that doesn't say that they are any better than us, because in Tanzania there is a lot of subsidies. Sometimes you don't want to go the way of subsidies. So our tariffs are high, but compared to what? We are at about 14 cents, US cents per kilowatt hour. The other countries slightly higher, Rwanda slightly higher, Kenya slightly higher. So we think, yes, they are high, but with the relatively low cost generation that we're undertaking now, those tariffs should be able to come down.
Undoubtedly, Uganda's electricity subsector has come a long way since the daunting times of power scarcity and rationing. The ongoing multi-trillion investment in power infrastructure is a strategic move aimed at making available, stable, reliable and affordable power. And this provides a ray of hope for the much-needed investment, a key ingredient for economic growth.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
buli munya-Uganda nayitinga amakuru marungi. UBC West eyina amakuru marungi kandi agali kwesigwa. Leero za program zaayo ziri omu Lunyakitara hamwe n'Orufumbira. UBC West eyina tekinologiya ey'omulembe eri kugibaasisa kuhika omu bicweka byona omu ihanga nangu n'aheeru y'eihanga. Tukwatire aha frequencies Kisoro 97.7 Fama, Kalari 93.7 Fama, Hoima 99.1 Fama, Kampala 5.7 Fama, Mbarara 97.4 Fama, Futpoto 98.8 Fama, Masindi 5 Fama. Kurikiriza UBC West ohurire embaganiza. UBC West empika huna.
Did you know that our #1